All right. I'm sure you look fine.
Yeah, thanks.
When was the last time you were afraid? Really afraid?
Good God, she's dead!
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast, your weekly guide to all things horror and all things Salem, although, Salem is pretty quiet lately. Right? I mean, there's not much.
It's pretty dead out there.
But we will report when there's something to report. Believe me, we will let you know. How many years...
we'll be back in the studio.
How many years do you have to live here in Salem before you get to be an alt model, Kelly? Because I've been here 2 years already, and nobody's asked me to model anything in front of the witch house.
I think you have to do that yourself. I think you have to go out there and stand in front of the witch house and ask somebody to take a picture of you, and then just put a crazy filter on it, and there you go. You're a fucking model.
Okay, all right. And then,
it's as easy as that, my friend.
And then maybe I can build up a portfolio that way.
Yeah, just of you standing in front of houses.
I'm your old pal Ken, a.k.a. Rock Rider, Sleaze Grinder, and there she is, everybody, Salem's greatest hauntress, Kelly Kapow.
Greetings, humans.
Here's what happened. We're actually a television show. We broadcast in the heart of downtown Salem, right across the street from Halloween Alley, but we got shut down in March because of the pandemic. So, Kelly and I will be hosting the audio version until we can get back into the studio.
Booyah.
Facebook.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show if you want to see the first 5 episodes of our show. The visual episodes if you want to look at us instead of just listening to us. But what can we do? We have no studio currently.
I'm liking this podcast thing. I can just sit here, no pants on, covered in dust from popcorn, wine mustache. Things are great.
This week and every week we'll be talking about some horror movies that we've seen lately, and we'll be reviewing a movie together. A group watch, if you will. It's very popular these days, Kelly, as you know. Mm-hmm. And this week it's 1997's Night of the Demons 3. The only one I do not actually own. We'll find out if I should remedy that later on. I do believe that Kelly owns a copy.
I do, VHS. I got it at Blockbuster.
Yeah. A couple of things before we get to the movies. Number one, May 1st was the exact midway point to Halloween, so congratulations, everybody. We made it.
Happy Halloween.
Exactly. We're in Salem, so that's obviously a big deal, although we'll see how big of a deal it is this year.
Oh.
It probably will be.
It has to be. It's the only thing I'm hanging on to right now, Ken.
It will be on Saturday this year, as far as I know, which is nice.
And it's going to be a full moon.
And it's going to be
extra.
a full moon. I don't know what to do on Halloween, so I'm just gonna, whatever you do, Kelly, just invite me along, if you would.
You can dress up like me, and I'll dress up like you.
Okay, perfect. That sounds like fun. Hey, so I'll see you there on Halloween.
Okay.
Hey, do you actually go down? Do you go downtown on Halloween?
Well, I feel like for me, because I work in haunted houses and I have forever.
Oh yeah, that's right. You'll be in a haunted house.
Yeah, well, no, sometimes I take it off. So a few years back, I decided to take 1 year off for like the first time ever. And I went downtown Salem in a haunt costume, and it was a fucking nightmare. I was like, I feel like I'm working at the haunt right now, but I don't have security. Everybody's touching me. People are too close. It's a fucking disaster, man.
Yeah. All right, well, that's a good that's a good endorsement for going downtown in Salem and Halloween.
Go downtown during the day. During the day is really cool. You get to see a lot of awesome costumes. Everybody's out there with their families. But once the night hits, it just gets fucking crazy.
Yeah, and people will touch you, apparently.
They will. They will touch you.
Okay, so let's talk about some movies that we've seen lately. By the way, I review all the movies I watch over on Letterboxd, so go to letterboxd.com/sleazegrinder if you want to follow me there. So one of the films that I'd like to talk about just came out this week, and I saw it last night, and I believe that Kelly starred as well, so we're going to talk about it. It's called One Bedroom. It's directed by David Marmor. It's his first feature-length film. Stars Nicole Bryden Bloom. By the way, I don't know if she needs 3 names yet. I don't know. It's one of her first films. I don't know if she needs... I think she can cool it. I think she can just be Nicole Bloom for a little while. You know
She'll drop the middle name once she's in more films, I bet.
I guess maybe she thinks we'll get her confused with other Nicole Blooms. Is that too common a name?
I don't think so.
A young woman moves to L.A. from who knows where. I didn't catch that part. To start her life over. And so far, so miserable, as they say. She's got a bad temp job. She's getting all these panicky phone calls from her estranged dad. She's living in a cheap motel. Things aren't going so well. Ray of light emerges when she attends an open house for an apartment complex, and inexplicably, she gets in. People are much friendlier and more tight-knit than she'd like, but, what the heck? It's cheap, and at least her next-door neighbor is cute, right? But then, Kelly, she brings in a cat. There's no pets allowed. So her next-door...
His name is Giles.
Right. Her next-door neighbor bakes her cat in the oven, and that is when she realizes that there's trouble. Turns out the entire building is part of some weirdo 70s utopian cult, and they will do anything in order to keep her in the apartment building. And that is the premise for this motion picture, One Bedroom. So, Kelly, what did you think of this movie?
I thought it was great.
I thought it was great too. I had no idea
scared.
because you just told me that you watched it and you didn't say anything about it, so I had no idea whether you're going to like it or not. But I thought it was fantastic.
I was really, really fucking scared when that buzzer went off for the oven and her fucking cat Giles is in there. I have a cat, and his name is Giles too.
Wait, your cat's name is also Giles?
Yeah,
That's
Giles
crazy.
is my partner's cat, and now it's our cat together. His name is Giles.
Why is his name Giles? Is it from Frasier, the TV show? No, that's Niles.
Hell no. It's from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay,
Mr.
all right,
Giles.
that makes sense. All right.
I thought this movie was great. It kind of got me for a little bit there. I was like, for 15 minutes or so, I was like, this looks pretty great. I could definitely see myself joining something like this.
Yeah. Well, they weren't really wrong. I mean, it's just that their methods were quite savage.
Yeah. I mean, once he put his arms around her and he whispered those 4 words in her ear, I'm proud of you. And I was like, that's it right there.
Right.
Got her.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a survival horror, but it's also a bit of a puzzle box. I mentioned on Letterboxd that it reminded me a bit of an M. Night Shyamalan thing where you're not really sure, what's reality, what's not reality, how this all comes together. It's also got the elements of Rosemary's Baby to it. It is quite graphic in a couple of scenes, but for the most part, it is not. There's not a lot of hardcore violence in it. It's more about, sort of creeping dread. And, I thought the performances were great. Like, all the residents of the apartment building, I thought did a great job. And it's just a really well-made film.
Yeah, it definitely had some twisties in there because, for one, I did not want to trust anybody named fucking Lester.
Yeah.
Right from the jump, I was like, all right, that guy is to not be trusted. And he had one eye. And I was like, okay, definitely don't trust Lester with one eye.
And there is one scene that's really pretty brutal, and I was really taken aback because I didn't know we were going there, and then we went there. So,
yeah,
really good. All right,
recommend
another film that I believe that we both saw and that we both recommend is Underwater. Right?
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay, you sound like you have reservations about it.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a great film, but it's good.
Directed by William Eubank, who made The Signal, but not The Signal that I'm thinking of. Maybe The Signal that Kelly's thinking of. But it stars Kristen Stewart as an engineer in a research facility at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. She brushes her teeth one morning, and then all hell breaks loose. And the entire film from that moment on is her and the other people, the other survivors, of this research facility, just in constant peril. And I can't think of too many other films where the protagonists are in imminent threat of death for the entire motion picture, right?
Yeah, she didn't stand a chance.
I mean, it was like nobody did. I mean, you got the feeling that they should have all just give up. If I'm at the bottom of the ocean and something goes wrong, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
How are you going to get out of that one? And that was, one of the issues that I had with it is the technical stuff, the science of it just seemed extremely implausible to me.
This is the future, Ken.
Especially because they have these escape pods that just shoot right up to the surface, no problem. Come on, what are we talking about here? And
we're talking about the future.
And suits that you can walk around on the bottom of the ocean with, the incredible pressure down there. You can just walk around and fight and stuff. You can fight monsters at the bottom of the ocean if you have a suit. Crazy.
Kristen Stewart was amazing in it, though.
She was.
Babe.
She was great. And in a nod, I think a lot of people talk about how it's Alien Underwater. It is Alien Underwater in a lot of ways. It's Alien Underwater because in the last half, she's in her underwear for the whole thing too, which is a neat twist. I was thinking about it this morning. It's like Hollywood has to find a way to sexualize its actresses, no matter what the situation is.
Oh, of course.
Even when you're fighting monsters on the bottom of the ocean, we got to sex it up somehow. All right,
you don't have time for pants when you're fighting monsters.
Yeah, exactly. But Underwater, I thought was it was fun. The monsters they worked pretty hard to make the monsters look murky enough, so you never really got a very good look at them. I think, which is fine.
Yeah.
I think if you did get a really good look at them, you probably would have, looked a little ridiculous. But the way that they shot them, I think, it worked pretty. It was pretty effective.
I feel like it was so hard to see anything, and that you literally felt like you were watching it underwater. So they could have been fucking puppets on sticks under there, and you wouldn't have been able to tell what they looked like.
Right.
But I liked the movie. I thought one thing that I kind of threw me off is that it did happen. Everything did happen so quickly. So I felt like all the characters to me were completely disposable, and I didn't care when they died because we didn't get enough time to get to know anybody.
Yeah. But how well do we know anybody, Kelly? Really?
That's true. T.J. Miller was funny in it, as always.
He was very funny.
Had some little quips.
Yeah, Underwater. It's a good one, I think. Also streaming now. We Some in the Darkness, directed by Mark Myers, who made the pretty excellent My Friend Dahmer, based on the comic book. We Some in the Darkness is about a trio of metal chicks who pick up some rocker dudes at a gig, bring them home, and then try to murder them. Why? You'll find out. It's a twist.
It's perfect. This movie is amazing.
It stars Alexandra Daddario and Johnny Knoxville. And, we talked about this before, but they went to see a fake band called Soldiers of Death or something, but the music playing was Merciful Fate. And that really annoyed me. And it's still bugging me.
I had no fucking idea at all.
Right,
so.
And that's exactly it. I mean, who's going to notice? But other than
Ken's going to notice.
But other than that, I thought it was a really fun movie.
It was.
The actresses all did a great job at being crazed murderers. One of them is not so much into the plan. You know how that all works. There's all that dynamic.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the trio right there. I mean, you have like the leader, and then you have the like over sexual one, and then it's like the shy girl that has her own thoughts on everything, which is exactly what that is. I mean, I thought it was great. I thought Alexandra Daddario did an amazing job in this because she's usually in roles that she's more of a heroine or like a sexy character, and I thought it was really cool to see her kind of just like be this like wild thing.
Yeah, I was unaware of her before this movie, although it turns out I did see her in True Detective. She was super naked in True Detective in the first season.
So you didn't remember her?
I didn't
like, oh, another naked lady in this movie.
No, I didn't remember that she was in it at all until I looked her up afterwards, and there's all these, gifs and clips of her naked in True Detective. But yeah, I mean, I thought she was awesome.
Yeah, from what I read, she actually really loved being in this movie. She liked being this, like, having the wild role, because she even said that she's normally used to playing like heroines or the sought after desired character.
Yeah.
So she was able to just let loose and have fun. Really good.
And if you like heavy metal themed horror, that's what this is, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, have you seen anything else since we last spoke that you want to mention?
I saw a movie called The Ladies of the House. Have you heard that one?
No, let's talk about it.
It's a 2013 horror thriller. It's by John Stewart Wildman. He wrote it and directed it. And do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
Well, I didn't know who he was either until I looked him up, and I found out he was more popular in the 80s. He did a couple of sci-fi movies, Deadly Weapon, Lethal Pursuit, 1988, but a big one that he did, which I haven't seen, and I'm going to watch it and let you guys know what I think. 1988, Sorority Babes in the Slime Bowl-orama.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've seen that.
With Linnea Quigley. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's great.
And he did that one. So it's a grindhouse film. It stars an adult film star, Belladonna. And actually, this was her first non-pornographic film that she's done.
Okay.
And it's funny because the whole beginning of the movie plays like an opening of a porno film.
Wow.
It's it follows like 3 or 4 men who are out for a birthday at a strip club. They get kind of creepy and follow one of the dancers home, and she lets them in her house, and they end up drinking copious amounts of tequila. Something goes wrong. One of them tries to assault the dancer, Ginger, and her 3 hot roommates, who were also dancers at the club, come home, and they basically take out their revenge, board up the door, and hunt the remaining men in the house.
Perfect setup.
This is a super feminist grindhouse film, and there's actually a beautiful love story between a lesbian couple in it, though, which is nice, and they're all pin-up cannibal strippers.
Fantastic.
I recommend it. I mean, the production value is pretty shitty, but it's pretty good.
What's it called again?
It's called The Ladies of the House. You can find it on Amazon.
Fantastic. Ladies of the House, everybody. And I also just wanted to mention Demonoid Messenger of Death from 1981. Saw it recently. Just thought I'd mention it. It's great. It's a really ridiculous film. It stars Samantha Eggar from The Brood, who unwittingly digs the devil's hand literally out of a mine, and then the hand goes on a killing spree. So what I'm saying, Kelly, is that the bad guy in this film is a severed hand, and it infects whoever it touches, and then they're possessed, and then they're compelled to chop off their own hand. So they do something terrible, and then they chop off their own hand. Hand crawls away, infects somebody else. That's what happens.
So we all know this. I mean, anybody that's my age, that's in their 30s, knows this because of Idle Hands, starring Devon Sawa. So I believe this movie, Idle Hands, must have been based off your movie.
It could be. I don't know this Idle Hands, but I will tell you. So I can't vouch for it. Perhaps Kelly can.
I vouch for it.
So I am vouching for Demonoid Messenger of Death because I thought it was really fun. Time for the best kill of the week. Last week was Jess Franco's Bloody Moon from 1981. It's pretty straightforward. It's a slasher movie set at a girls' school in Spain, and it's got really one amazing kill. So I got to give it to Jess for that. The killer stabs a girl in the back with such force that the tip of the knife pops out through her nipple. Never saw that before. That's brand new to me.
That's brilliant.
This week, In the Folds of the Flesh, is a film. It's a really weird Italian film from 1970 about this family that lives in a mansion, and they have a vulture farm. And like they have, like some people raise, like people have like pigeon coops full of pigeons.
Yeah.
They have vultures.
Whoa.
That's a cool twist, right?
Are they like eating dead bodies? Is that why they have a vulture farm?
You know what? I didn't even consider why they had a vulture farm, but you just blew my mind because that's why.
Whoa!
Because whoever shows up at the mansion, they kill them. And they're all, half of the movie is them getting rid of dead bodies. So, of course, that's why they have the vulture farm. They're feeding the vultures.
Yeah, it's like having a pig farm, right?
Yeah, that makes total sense. Anyway, there's a great decapitation by sword there. And it's one of those decapitation by swords where the head just falls right off. As if, Kelly, as if it wasn't even attached in the first place.
Just a clean cut right through.
Falls right off and clunks to the floor. I loved it. My feeling is that it would take a few whacks at least in real life.
Not if you're a good swordsman.
That's true. And you had a really, really sharp sword maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? I got to try it out one of these days. Get a really sharp sword. Just try it out with a head of lettuce or something.
I think the head of lettuce would be much easier to chop through than a human head. That's just something I'm thinking, though. Seems
the same to me. Also, they throw people in an acid bath, but it's obviously just a soapy sink. Not fooling anybody.
Sounds
movie.
Great.
Fun movie, though. In the Folds of the Flesh. Any good kills for you, bud?
I really liked one of the kills from that movie, Lady of the House, I was just talking about.
Okay.
There's a scene where they're preparing one of their kills, and they're very good at butchering, by the way. Butchering.
Okay.
So they have him like laying there, and she slits him up the center of the chest and kind of butterflies him open and just pulls out all of his insides, and they just flop to the floor. It's great.
Why are they so good at butchering? Are they butchers, or is this just experience?
Well, I think they don't say, but they have to be good at butchering because they're cannibals. So they're preparing their own meals all the time.
Yeah, okay. So all right.
So they have quite the setup in their basement.
Hey, we're going to talk about Night of the Demons 3, everybody. It's from 1997. Do you remember 1997? Let's go back to 1997. Kevin Tenney was the writer and director of the first Night of the Demons. Right?
He was the director. He didn't actually
He was the director
write
of the first one. He didn't do anything in the second one.
Mm-mm.
And he wrote the third one.
Yes, he did.
Night of the Demons, original, only one that was released theatrically. Other ones, strictly video. Also, even the first one, very popular on video.
I'm surprised the second one wasn't in the theater because I thought the production quality was really good.
Yeah, no, it was straight to video. The original starred Amelia Kincaid as Angela. Also starred Linnea Quigley, who famously pushed a tube of lipstick into her boob in that one.
Iconic.
One of the classic 80s horror scenes. It was a huge hit on video, still retains cult classic. Second one, mid-90s, 1994. Like we said, Kevin Tenney was not involved. It was a pretty good one, though. It was pretty good.
Yeah. And then the third one, they just really dropped the production value there.
He came back to write the screenplay for the third one. It was directed by Jim Kaufman, who is known mostly for directing Canadian cable television shows. This movie is Canadian, by the way. And it was shot for $2 million, which seems, given what we get, seems exorbitantly high to me, Kelly.
Yeah, it's about $5 million higher.
By the way, it turns out Amelia Kincaid is Rue McClanahan's niece of Golden Girls fame. So that's something.
I didn't know that.
And also, she's a
pet psychic.
She's a pet psychic, which I don't want to get into. We had a conversation about it before, Kelly and I thought, a pet psychic talks to pets to solve crimes, but it turns out that's not what a pet psychic actually does.
Yeah, he literally thought that the pet psychic goes into a house and sits the dog down at the table and says, all right, I need to know where you were last week.
Because pets witness crimes all the time.
That's true.
So they know, the dog knows who did it. Right? So if you could extract the information from the dog, you would know who did it.
Man's best friend, though. I don't know if he would rat.
Depends on who got killed in the house.
Depends on the dog.
Yeah. But anyway, that's not what a pet psychic does. What does a pet psychic do, Kelly?
I have no idea. I think they just make you feel good about your animal dying.
All right.
And let you know that they've crossed on the Rainbow Bridge to the other side.
He wants you to know he's in a happy place.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's got lots of milk bones and a big yard to run around in. in heaven. He's fine. That'll be $45, please.
It's probably more than $45.
That'll be $230, please.
Exactly.
So the plot is pretty simple. A bunch of kids on Halloween are running from the cops, and they end up at Hull House, which is where Angela, the witch, lives. What was surprising to me is that there's a very violent shootout with the cops in a convenience store before they get to the haunted house. And I have to say I was kind of shocked by it. It didn't seem very much in the spirit of Night of the Demons to me.
Yeah, because it usually starts off with a fun party going.
Right, we're all getting ready for the party.
Yeah.
Cops and kids blasting away at each other. Right?
Yeah.
It's
brutal.
One kid gets it in the gut, and then he's bleeding out like Mr. Orange and Reservoir Dogs. And I'm like, what happened to my Halloween party, man? Also,
well, I mean, they get a Halloween party in hell.
Also, the main guy, right, exactly. The main guy, Kelly knows who he is. Who he is. I thought the main guy looked like the guy from the Nickelback, who also Canadian. So
maybe they all just have that same look in Canada.
Who is the guy that's the main guy?
His name is Dyson, and the actor is Chris Holden Reed.
Okay.
Who I actually didn't know this film was made in Canada, but it totally makes sense to me now because he's a Canadian actor, and some of you might know him from the show Lost Girl. He stars as Dyson. He is a hot werewolf cop.
Nice.
So check that out.
Hot werewolf cop. If I couldn't be a bank robber, that's what I would. A
hot werewolf cop.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty good.
It's good to have goals.
As soon as they get to the house, Angela escapes from her boiler room or wherever she is. But here's the problem. Right away, there's a problem with this motion picture, Kelly, because they reuse footage from the first one. So anytime that you see Angela as a demon, it's from the first one. And
those are the scenes that I like best.
Right.
I came to realize, wow, I just like the first movie, and this one is pretty fucking terrible.
The film stock doesn't even match.
No.
I mean, you could do some color correction or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. At least they have that really amazing title sequence opening there.
Oh yeah, it's like a Windows 95 animation of it's either skeletons or ghosts over the graveyard, right?
Yeah, it doesn't beat the original though. It had all the 80s synth and the skeletons in it. Yeah. There
was one scene that I really liked. It was a cheap gag, but it was pretty excellent. Angela sucks on a gun and then spits out the bullets. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, that was really good. I personally really liked the cat character because in this movie, all the people that die they come back as these demons in whatever costume they died in.
Yeah.
So you had this one, she was the dorky girl because she was in glasses, right? And she dies and her glasses are off and now she's this hot cat. And she's in this like assless spandex bodysuit with like a feather cattail. I thought she was pretty cool.
It's one of the problems with this movie is that they were also very half-hearted with the Halloween costumes.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like barely any costumes at all. Like none of the guys that showed up had any costumes. The one girl was supposed to be the cat girl. The other girl was supposed to be the snake girl. I don't even get why. And then
she had a puppet on her hand. That was it.
And then the other girl, the final girl, was supposed to be in some sort of like a harem belly dancer outfit, and it was barely an outfit. If I was like, hey Kelly, I'm gonna dress up as a belly dancer for Halloween, and then I showed up at your house in that outfit, you'd be like, go back and work on it some more, right?
I would just put a sheet over you at that point and just say you're a ghost now, my friend.
You're just a ghost now. Yeah, and the other part was so the girl who turned into the snake, she didn't turn into a whole snake, just her hand turned into a snake, meaning that she had a snake hand puppet, right?
Yeah, well then it gave you that sexy bathroom scene that they all seem to have.
Yeah. So first she realizes that her hand is now a snake, and then the first thing she decides to do is to masturbate with it.
Wouldn't you?
But then it turns on her, and then she's got problems.
Yeah.
Oh boy. And then so anyway, And for a couple of moments there, the hand is CGI. And here's the thing: in the '90s, it turns out we didn't know it at the time, but in the '90s, we were very overconfident about how great computer graphics looked. We didn't know it because it was a new technology, and we were like, "Look at these amazing things that we can do." We should have held off a little bit.
Yeah, they should have just done more practical effects. That snake would have looked awesome.
Yeah, we should have let the technology develop a little bit before we started throwing it in everything.
Yeah.
Because now it looks pretty bad.
What do you think of it overall?
Overall, it was just not a good movie at all. Really, was it?
Overall, I feel like it was just like a copycat of the first one, but with like a little more spice in the beginning with the shootout scene.
Yeah.
But this left a bad taste in your mouth. It was nothing special.
The main girl, the final girl, her name was Holly in the movie, and at the end, she says to her boyfriend, because she defeated the demons for now anyway, and she says, "I'm gonna come back here every Halloween until I die." And her boyfriend says, "Yeah, we'll see," which is exactly what he should say, because she's never going back there. None of us are ever going back there.
Well, they didn't make a Night of the Demons 4, so maybe didn't. She did go back there every day, every Halloween. On a scale,
here's the important thing, Kelly, because this is, after all, a Salem podcast. On a scale of 1 to 10, how Salem is Night of the Demons 3?
3.
Yeah, it's not very Salem-y. It's because
the first one is.
The first one is super Salem-y. In fact, the reboot, which Kelly is really on the fence about, but I like very much, the reboot is super Salem-y. It's like an 8, because the whole thing is about getting dressed up and going to the Halloween party. And in fact,
you just want to look at hot girls in costumes. Hot goths in costumes.
That's 60% of the reason that I moved to this town. But in this one, they didn't even bother with that aspect. So, I can't. Overall, not a very good experience. I am kind of happy that Kelly has it on VHS. Do you have it lined up with the other ones on the shelf?
I do.
Oh,
I'll show it to you.
That's beautiful. I got to see that.
I'm not on the fence about the remake. I'm on the other side of the fence.
You're on the other side of the fence. Okay, all right.
Once you see Shannon Elizabeth in the credits, you know what you're in for.
There you go, everybody. Night of the Demons Part 3. See at your own peril. And if you need a pet psychic, now you know who to go to.
Amelia Kincaid.
Especially if that pet has witnessed a brutal murder and you want to find out who did it. There's a lot of...
Yeah, they could pull her in like Lori Cabot. She's done stuff like that, right?
Sure. Yeah, exactly. It could be done, for sure. There's a lot of cool-looking new horror films streaming in May. So we're going to be checking out a bunch of those, including The Lodge coming out, which I've heard.
I can't wait for that one.
I've heard. Does it take place in Massachusetts, The Lodge? That's what I've heard.
I'm going to say yes.
The Wretched, Arkansas, Getaway, Cry Havoc, Witches in the Woods, Bit, I Hate the Man in the Basement, and Abracadabra, all brand new, well-received horror films now streaming in various places. So stay tuned. We're going to check them out. In the meantime, you can see our show on Facebook, facebook.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show. You can also check out my weekly Witch Watch videos there. And soon, I hear soon, Kelly's drunk horror videos.
Oh, God, I have to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, God knows I'm drunk enough at this point, stuck in this house. I have to mention something. May 9th at 9 p.m.
Yep.
It's a Saturday. The Baphomets, who you all should know by now, we've had a couple of their members on our show.
Right.
And if you are from Salem, you know who they are. They're a spooky burlesque troupe. They're amazing. They're putting on a show. It's part of the North Shore collective that's putting them on. Creative North Shore, excuse me. It's called Come Plague With Us. And it's going to be a spooky burlesque performance. You can just watch it from the comfort of your own home. Live stream starts at 8:45. This is a great time if you've never been to a burlesque show because you're a little shy. You can watch it right from home. And
yeah, that's right.
All of the performers on there have their Venmos listed on the Facebook page, so you can tip them. It's very appreciated, especially in this time. Check it out. It's going to be spooky and sexy, and I'll definitely be watching that. So we'll try to let you know if there's anything coming up in Salem that you can check out online.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll keep you updated.
Fantastic. All right, thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Heavy Leather Horror Show.
We gotta get out of here.